We live in a world where the roar of engines echo across vast highways. People need to get to work, home, get the kids from school, etc. Now this has led us as humans to consume tons of oil and fuel just to get our daily tasks done. And because of this, the quest for automotive efficiency and environmental sustainability has been in full swing for decades. There are tons of inventors from the past and from the present day that have designed new ways to make engines more efficient and more eco-friendly. But what if I told you that in the late 70s there was a man that invented the solution to all of this? And no, it didn't use some special fuel. It didn't require any weird engine. Simply some modifications to an existing one. So let's start this story off by telling you about the man behind the invention. His name was Tom Ogle, and he was an inventive and determined individual who left an indelible mark on automotive history, sparking debates and being the cause of much speculation to this day. By the way, in this video, we will be referring to him as Tom Ogle instead of this, then I can't pronounce his last name. Anyways, in his early life, he was already super curious and had a knack for tinkering with machinery. Growing up in a family of inventors, Ogle inherited a passion for innovation from his father, Hans, an electronics engineer. His journey into automotive innovation began with humble origins. After earning a graduate equivalency degree, Ogle delved into automotive mechanics. Attending an automotive trade school in Morgantown, West Virginia, it was during these formative years that Ogle's curiosity and ingenuity led him to experiment with various mechanical devices, setting the stage for his groundbreaking invention. Now, Ogle's invention stemmed from a chance encounter he had when mowing the lawn. Yes, you heard me correctly. You see, the fuel tank had ruptured on his lawnmower while he was busy, and he then decided to make his own modifications. You see, Ogle improvised by connecting a vacuum line from the carburetor inlet to the engine. To his amazement, this simple modification resulted in significantly improved fuel efficiency, with the lawnmower running for an astonishing 96 hours on a small tank of fuel. Now I do wonder if he tested this over different segments, like the 96 hours, or if he ran the thing for 96 hours straight. Because if you are his neighbors and that thing ran for 96 hours straight, I think you would get a little bit sour because you're not going to sleep very well. Your dogs are going to go crazy. I'm guessing he did it over different stints of time. But let's continue. Now, inspired by the success of his lawnmower, Ogle set out to apply his newfound knowledge to automobiles. Experimenting with different configurations, he eventually developed a vapor carburetor system that replaced traditional carburetors and fuel pumps. Instead of liquid fuel, Ogle's system injected vaporized gasoline directly into the engine's combustion chambers, leading to remarkable improvements in fuel efficiency. But let me try and explain to you how this thing worked. So instead of a carburetor on top of the engine, he had a black box. And inside the black box was a bunch of hoses and fuel filters. Now this whole device would deliver a precise mix of fuel, vapor and air into the combustion chamber, maximizing fuel efficiency. Now, how good was the system? Well, Ogle applied his revolutionary innovation to a 1970 Ford Galaxy featuring a V8 engine and then filled it with only 2 gallons of fuel. He then used his multiple vapor system in that car and drove it for 200 miles on 2 gallons of fuel. Now, I will say that engineers and scientists thought that Ogle was a con man and asked to inspect the car, hoping to find hidden fuel tanks, but they couldn't find any. In fact, before the journey began, 2 times reporters looked the car over for possible hidden sources of fuel and found none. Then there was a brief ceremony emptying the gas tank, and after the last drop fell, 2 gallons were poured back in. He then drove 200 miles at 60 miles per hour on only 2 gallons of fuel using his invention. Now, how did he do this? Well, the key to his system's success was its ability to store excess vapors for later use, ensuring optimal fuel utilization over extended periods. Moreover, Ogle's invention promised not only improved fuel efficiency, but also reduced emissions and engine wear, offering a comprehensive solution to the environmental and economic challenges of the traditional combustion engine. Now, because of all of the publicity, Ogle's invention captured the imagination of the public and the industry alike, sparking widespread interest and speculation about its potential impact. Despite initial skepticism from some quarters, independent tests and expert evaluations confirmed the viability of Ogle's system, further fueling anticipation for its commercialization. However, the path to market was fraught with challenges and setbacks. You see, legal disputes, financial difficulties, and personal struggles plagued Ogle's efforts to bring his invention to fruition. Despite securing backing from investors and exploring partnerships with automotive manufacturers, Ogle faced mounting obstacles that hindered progress towards mass production. You see, although he might have had a lot of good publicity, he did have some challenges, one of which was Robert Levy. Now, Robert Levy was a physicist with a PhD in the field, and he didn't believe anything Ogle said. He pretty much called the whole thing BS and challenged Ogle to prove to him that this whole thing worked. He even placed a bet of $1,000 saying that Ogle could not replicate what he did previously. Ogle then said, well, he can't do it now because he uninstalled the system from his car and it would cost more than $1,000 to put everything back in the car, so it just wasn't worth it to prove Robert Levy wrong. And then obviously they bickered a bit and the whole dispute ended with Ogle walking away and telling Levy if he doesn't want the system, he doesn't need to buy it when it comes out. Which is fair, like if you don't want it, don't buy it. But it does raise some questions, like why, if the whole system worked that well, why did he remove it? He knows how he built it, so he doesn't need to remove it to figure out how to build another one, since he built it the first time. So I do wonder why he did remove it in the first place. But let's continue. On to some of the other challenges he faced, investors. So there's different sources on this whole investment story. The one side says that oil companies, fueling stations, stuff like that, tried to buy out his invention from under him and tried to suppress the whole thing. And then there's other sides that said he did get in investors that was really for the product and wanted to get it to market to make some money. But the reason why it was held up for so long wasn't because of people trying to suppress it, more people fighting over specific profit margin percentages, which also seems fair. Both sides of that seems fair. But I will say that it does make a lot of sense for oil companies wanting to buy out this thing from underneath him, even if it didn't work. Like even if they don't have proof that it works. Because if you think about it, let's say I invent something and it makes a car be 90% more efficient. That extra mileage I get is taking money out of their pockets. So, and this is more than just 90% more efficient. I mean, 200 miles on 2 gallons of fuel, that's insane. So the profit margins of the oil companies would go down a lot and it would scare them. And to add to this whole like tinfoil conspiracy part of the video, Ogle had an attempt on his life. He got shot by an unknown assassin in 1980. Nobody knows who the guy was and there's not any more info on it. Somebody tried to shoot him and he survived. He didn't die then. But he did die a year later from an accidental alcohol overdose, which is really weird. I mean, the guy invented something that could make cars super efficient on fuel, and then he mysteriously died shortly after of an alcohol overdose. Now, I will say it was under a lot of stress. I mean, with investors piling on, people wanting the thing to market like now, probably oil companies messaging him and like telling him if he brings this thing out, they'll kill him and all of this stuff. His wife also left him in 1981. So it is fair to assume that this dude drank. But it is weird, like the timing. It's shortly after he invented this thing that oil companies would have been afraid of, and then he just mysteriously dies of an alcohol overdose. But let me know what you think of that. Now, I will say normally in these videos, I do like a deep dive trying to go into the technology to see if it worked, if it's possible for it to have worked like I did with Bob Lazar's hydrogen car. You can watch that after this if you want. I'm not going to do that in this one, but I can make a part 2 for you guys if you would like, where I do a deep dive into the actual technology to see if it would work. Since I made this video, I have found some more research and stuff on how it worked and if it is possible for it to work now, like if we could recreate it. So if you would like to see that, let me know. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Do you guys think that his invention worked? What do you think, that this is a whole conspiracy and that they did get to him? Or do you think he just had too much stress and then the alcohol was his way to cope with all of this stuff happening around him? Let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys did like it, you'll most probably like most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if there's something else you like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers, eh?